Hey everyone, it's Matt and V here from Inception Labs, and we're here with the Inception agenda. Now we're going to talk to you today about creatine monohydrate, probably apart from protein, one of the best known, most common supplements there is out there. So I'm going to hand off to you, V, to give the people a rundown, and then we'll sort of talk about the production standards and everything and the process we went through actually selecting the mono that we're using, because not all monos are created equal.
Yeah, correct. And as you said, Matt, creatines, bar protein is probably one of the most, what we call foundation supplements that everyone uses. And creatine basically, you can get it from a lot of natural sources like red meat and things. What creatine is three amino acids which are bonded together. Our body does produce them, but basically creatine works off an energy system called your phosphate energy system. So that's a short-term burst. So say you're doing a bench press and you're doing 100 kilos, you can only do 2 to 3 reps. Creatine is going to give you the ability to do 3 to 4 reps. So whether you're lifting, your endurance, or whatever you're doing, any short-term power, that's when your ATP kicks in, your adenosine triphosphate. So that's what creatine does, enhances that effect.
So, I mean, this one, I've actually read quite a bit of research on this one as well, because it's one of the most researched supplements there is out there. Increases in things like sprinting speed. I remember seeing like studies with like hockey, as in turf hockey players, and increases in sprinting speed. Sled drags, they can drag more over short distances with sled drags and so on. So, it's not just weightlifting. Absolutely it's, that short, intense bursts of speed as well that you need for competitive sports and so on.
Exactly.
But a lot of people, I guess because it's one of the most well-known, there's a lot of misinformation out there about it as well.
I've heard some crazy things over the years.
Crazy stuff. And
one of the ones I remember, I'll never forget this, is a customer came into the shop, and I believe in India they must have a different type of creatine than the rest of the world. But he said his head grew. So he's using creatine and his head started to grow, but his body didn't. So
I've had other ones, where other parts of their bodies apparently shrunk using it. I've heard of cancers and other such things. A lot of crazy stuff. So there's a lot of misinformation out there with this one, and it's pretty well researched to be 100% safe.
Oh, absolutely.
But it does have some sides. Not all monos are created equal, and we use CreaPure. Comes out of Germany. You have to get permission to be able to actually use the CreaPure logo. So, any mono that you're using should be CreaPure. You shouldn't look for anything else.
And the reason why, sorry to butt in there, but the reason why, we need to let the viewers know why we choose CreaPure is we've tried so many different types of creatine over the years. And I, for one, have reactions to creatine. Like if it's not CreaPure, it makes me bloat. The water retention's horrible. The performance factor, I'm lethargic. So
you get bloating, you get stomach cramps is quite a common one that we hear from customers. Diarrhea can be another really common side effect from poor quality. And with poor quality mono, it's actually really easy to spot. Like when you open the tubs, it'll often be crystallized around the top of the tub, or it's flaky like crystals inside the tub, or it's clumped. Whereas with CreaPure, it will never clump. It's always going to be this really fine, almost like caster sugar or something type material. Like it's just perfectly smooth. Every time when you pick up the tub and you move the tub, you don't hear rattling or crackling or anything like that. So it's just got a degree of purity, so you don't get that bloating, you don't get the stomach cramps, you don't get the water retention. And, a lot of people who are using mono, they want to keep their physique. They want to keep lean. So you don't want to bloat. You don't want a, distended abdomen. You don't want to lose your definition in your muscles from water retention. You don't want a puffy face. Given how cheap it is as a supplement, then why wouldn't you use CreaPure?
Yeah, exactly. And then speaking of, how do you recommend using creatine? Because we know there's so many different things on Google, and fitness coaches and whatever, they use so many different variables. What's, over the years, and we're talking 10, 15 years now, what's the best way that we've found that most people can use creatine safely?
I personally just stick with 5 grams a day, same time of day. You can have it as an intra-workout. You can have it with your pre-workout. You can have it post-workout. You can have it before you go to bed. I mean, honestly, I've personally found no difference. I know you tend to take yours around your workouts. But for myself, as long as you're taking 5 grams a day, and it's always going to be readily available in your muscles because you saturate at 5 grams, unless you're a massive unit, and then you might need to take 10 grams. But, you know, for most people, if they take 10 grams, they're going to be running to the toilet pretty fast with it. I don't really believe in loading phases. I think they're kind of a waste of time personally. I've never really had any benefit from the loading phase.
Yeah, I agree, and a lot of companies I reckon recommend a loading phase to get through the product a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So what people need to, I guess, understand is it doesn't matter if you're taking 5 grams a day or 20 grams a day. There's a saturation point which we all have. Yeah. So you might get to that saturation point within 3 days or 4 days or 10 days.
Yeah.
Eventually, your muscle cannot handle any more creatine.
Yeah.
So you're better to take a less amount and use it for a longer period of time and get the effects for a longer period of time compared to a saturated point.
Yeah, I don't cycle it. No. When I feel like using it, I use it. And when I don't, I don't.
Yes.
You know, the only times where I've absolutely not used it is if you say cutting for stage or something like that. You can't have it in your system then. But yeah, really, it's one of those things you can use it year round if you want. You can cycle it if you want. It's really one of those things, just don't stress too much about it.
Yeah, male and female, 5 grams a day. Career Pure, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. And then I guess probably the other thing to quickly touch on is all of those, you know, flashy high-end creatines, the Crealc, if you remember that.
Crealkaline.
You know, pH buffered creatine. Great way to waste some money.
Oh, exactly. People, again, another fact is, any type of creatine that you consume, our body only recognizes one, which is creatine mono. So as soon as it hits our stomach and our small intestine, it's going to turn to creatine mono.
Yeah.
So don't waste your money on Crealkaline and other brands such like that. You can stick to Career Pure. You can't go wrong. There is other forms of creatine which have their benefits, absolutely, but majority of them,
mono's going to work for the vast majority of people out there. So yeah. Okay, well, this was V and Matt for the Inception Agenda. Thanks for listening.